What is up, my friends? You're very welcome along to this midfielder transfer special here on Anfield Agenda. There has been so much written over the past 48, 72 hours around the midfield situation, both pro and con, both positive and negative, and I'm here to just give you my take on what I think should happen and what I think will happen. Now, let me prefix everything that I'm about to say with the phrase, if Liverpool do not go out in January and sign a midfielder after Jurgen Klopp and the club openly admitting that they made a mistake not doing it in the summer window, I think that is utter stupidity and absolute negligence. And I can't fathom a world as to how they've come to the rationale that we don't need to bring one in or that we can't bring one in January. It can't be a money thing because, of course, we've shown we had money for Cody Gakpo. If we had money for Gakpo, we would have had money for a midfielder. Do you get where I'm going? Now, I'm not complaining about Liverpool Football Club signing Cody Gakpo. I'm over the moon about that young man coming to play his trade at Anfield, and I look forward to seeing him in that number 18 shirt doing bits for the Reds. But our manager admitted he made a mistake. When we were scrambling around at the end of the summer transfer window and we brought in Arthur Melo on loan from Juventus, we all knew that wasn't the solution. And we all knew that it was last-ditch stuff from the club. So I can't understand how the club could have looked at that situation, then looked at what has proceeded to happen with our start to the season in and around midfield, and come to the conclusion that we don't buy one in January. It's not that there aren't players available. We know that there are. Yes, I understand that we don't have 120 million quid to throw around on Enzo Fernandez if Chelsea are willing to pay it and others are. I understand that. We're putting our eggs in the Bellingham basket, and I'll come on to that in a few minutes. But Amrabat, somebody who Jurgen Klopp has been reported to have spoken with his representatives before the World Cup, and he's only gone and had a better World Cup than maybe he had thought of. So surely there's no negatives from that regards. If you wanted him before the World Cup, you know the price, 40 million euro gets him at a Fiorentina. That seems a pretty reasonable fee for a midfielder that is sorely needed. And yes, I understand that you can't wave a magic wand and make a magic money tree happen. But I also don't believe for 1 second that Liverpool Football Club don't have access to the funds to go and bring in somebody like Amrabat. Then you can throw around the name of Caicedo, of course, from Brighton. Probably a little bit more of a trickier deal to do. You know, Brighton have a new manager in there. They're doing well. They're a Premier League club, and those deals are usually a little bit more expensive to pull off and a little bit trickier. So I've never been overly confident on us signing Caicedo in this window. Now, I don't know. I simply do not know how strong or how far along the interest in an Amrabat or a Caicedo is. I've been honest right the way through and told you they're deals you should look elsewhere for information on because I can't add to that conversation. All I can say is that I'm absolutely flabbergasted to see the quotes attributed to Paul Joyce where he said that unless something drastic were to happen, Liverpool's business could be done for this window. As I mentioned in yesterday's video, for me, that's, I hope, just a smokescreen. I hope that, we're quietly going about something behind the scenes and it will be unveiled. But what I would say is, if we don't have anybody through the door in the next 5 to 7 days, I'd really start to get concerned because you want players in as quickly as possible. We managed to get Gakpo signed up and ready to go before the window even opened. So he just needs to be registered, get his work permit, and he'll be good to go. And I would imagine the same to be true of a midfielder if we have any intention of signing one. And I don't know what world we don't need to bring one in the club's head. I don't know how they could look at their midfield situation and think it's gotten better since the summer. It hasn't. Now we have James Milner potentially out. We have Curtis Jones with a slew of never-ending injuries, it seems, and between that, some sketchy form. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, who was being used as a left-sided attacker recently. Carvalho, who Klopp hasn't really trusted all that much just yet. So then you've got Thiago, Henderson, Fabinho, and Naby Keita. And to Keita's credit, I think he's done well when he's come on in the last 2 games. Henderson hasn't looked at the races since he's come home from the World Cup, bar maybe one performance. And Thiago, could have an injury anytime. So we need it. We need the strength and depth, and we need somebody to come in and, provide competition for Fabinho. And look, I'm aware that young Stefan Bajcetic has come on leaps and bounds and looks like an unbelievably good footballer. Even allowing for that, though, I still think we need to do business. If not, we are once again going to run the risk of potentially missing out on a Champions League place over the sake of one signing. It nearly cost us when we didn't bring in a centre-back. We were very fortunate that Alisson Becker scored that header and that the lads were able to fight back as strong as they did to get that Champions League place and to finish third. Will we be so fortunate this season? I don't think so. Not unless we go out there and act, because you've got Newcastle flying high. You've got your resurgent Manchester United, Arsenal top of the league, Manchester City, Spurs and Chelsea sniffing around. I know they dropped points, but the battle for those places are probably more contested than ever. So we need to act in this window, and I'm going to be refreshing news sites and forums and everything to try and hopefully see some progression on this, because it's a real head scratcher for me that it isn't the priority and it isn't being done straight away. Now on this, I did say there was a little bit on Jude Bellingham. I believe my friend the Irish guy thinks I make too many Jude Bellingham videos. I think he even offered to get Jude Bellingham tattooed on his hand if he comes to Liverpool, because he's sure he's going to Real Madrid. Michael, my friend, you better get that tattoo artist on standby, fella, because as I've been saying for the longest time, when Jude Bellingham leaves Borussia Dortmund, providing FSG pay the money, he will become a Liverpool player. Today, there's been a report from Gimme Sport that said Liverpool lead the race for Jude Bellingham, and there is cautious optimism from the club that they can land the midfielder because of the legwork they've put in and the hands-on approach taken with the transfer. Kind of like what I've always said. I know there are reports from all the Madrid mouthpieces that he's basically one step away from putting his name on that contract. I don't believe that in any way, shape or form to be correct. I don't think it's the right move from at this point of his career. I certainly know that that's not the indications he's getting from his family or his representatives. So for me, when he sits down and has the conversation with his family in Dortmund, he's going to say to them wherever he wants to go, and that club is going to be Liverpool Football Club, and then it's over to FSG. That's the only part of this that we have no real control of. They will either pay the money or they won't. But if they pay the money, he's a Liverpool player. It is that simple as far as I'm concerned. Like I've always said, I'm not wavering on this one bit, but I am really frustrated right now and really worried that we don't sign somebody in midfield in this window. I hope that it's all quiet because there's stuff happening, or that the takeover is almost complete, or whatever. And again, I don't know anything about the takeover. I'm not going to sit here and pretend I do. But I do know we need a midfielder, and you guys know we need a midfielder. So over to you in the comment section. If you could wave that magic wand and have £60 million to spend in this window, where would you spend it? Who would you like to bring in? And please be realistic about it. Look, that's it for me today. Again, Happy New Year to all of you. Thank you for your continued support of the channel. Do drop a like on the video. Please hit that subscribe button, and I look forward to catching up with you all very soon. Talk to you then. Bye-bye.